Hey, what's up, LinkedIn? So great to have you back on the first Friday of the month to have another amazing guest with me. I am Rachel B. Lee, your branding lady boss, your most recent LinkedIn top voice. Really pumped about that. And I have yet again another incredible guest with me today, Kim Rittberg, who really is a lady boss when I saw her background working at Netflix, Pop Sugar, her creative intelligence pen. And I was like, okay, so she's been in corporate, she's got the creative background, she's all about building thought leadership through video and content. She is going to be so perfect to bring to my audience and to understand how you can really build your voice right through content and messaging. We talk so much about that. I talk so much about that. So, Kim, thank you for being here. While you're watching today, say what's up. Let us know where you're watching in from. Make some comments, anything you want Kim or me to respond back to. We want to see that today. So with that, Kim, what's up from New York? Thank you for hanging with me today.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. Okay. So first things first, who are you? Right. Tell us a little bit about how you became, now you're doing entrepreneur, your own thing. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Sure. So I started my career in media. Before that, I had kind of studied media. I'd always been a creative and a person who liked to be in the middle of the mix of things. So that's kind of where I still am. After college, I backpacked for a year. So if you love to travel, that's something we can connect on. I went to 10 different countries, just me in a backpack for a year. And then as I started my career, I started working in TV. And that means all things like writing sharp scripts to make people interested in the news story, preparing people for TV. So whether you're somebody who's never been on TV or like a CEO, I would prepare them for live television. So I worked in about national TV news for about 10 years, covered inaugurations and things like that, shifted into lifestyle as well. And I launched the first ever video unit for Us Weekly, which was really fun. And of course, I did that when I was 5 months pregnant. That's like the best time to have a baby is when you're running a 17-person team. But it really was amazing. So I birthed Us Weekly's video baby and then actual baby, Lily. And so that was a really exciting time. What was really exciting about it was the same thing I think that a lot of us entrepreneurs do is you have to kind of create a media operation within your company. And that's what I did at Us Weekly because they actually didn't have any more than like a conference room and one camera. They didn't have like a whole setup. It wasn't like that. So I got to create the operations, the creative, I got to staff it. So it was like really, really incredibly fun to helm that. And then they sold for $100 million. And I got so much of that money. But as they sold, they did sell for like $100 million. And I had this realization. I was like in the delivery room with my second child and I'm like working because all these people quit because of the new ownership, other people getting fired, and I'm still working there, working in the hospital. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I like what I do. I like being creative. I like messaging and writing for TV, but I was like, and video, I'm like, what am I doing? So I had that realization. I really wanted to start working for myself and bringing all those skills that I had had. And, you know, I think that like a lot of business owners, I wasn't showing up. I really wasn't showing up on video. And if you want to build a business, hiding from the camera is hiding from clients. So I started showing up, and that's kind of been the evolution of my business. Basically, I had corporate clients when I first started. I worked with People Magazine. I did a huge series for It Gets Better, the nonprofit. Actually, we won 6 awards for that. Amazing impact. But I really want to work with business owners. And if you want to work with business owners, they have to seek you out. They have to know who you are. And I was 100% hiding from the camera. And so getting away from that and starting to show up on camera has really completely changed my business. And I would not have the business that I have right now.
Wow. Okay. So there's like a few things that we need to talk about. So, one, because I talk a lot about the career journey. So, before we actually talk about the
Sure.
marketing and that, just talk about what you said. You're sitting in there on your phone having your baby, and you're like, why the heck am I doing this?
Yeah.
That inflection point, that moment for you where you're like, I need to do another path. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I get a lot of questions.
Sure. And I think, listen, media is like a lot of other paths. It's you work hard for not a lot of money for a long time. And then you made it and you're like, I made it. It's here. Here I am, world. And I truly loved what I did. I had an amazing boss. The people working for me were this amazing team. But like, it's the sort of job when in all aspects of job, I've worked at many different companies. When you're all in and you're senior, it's a lot of travel, a lot of long hours. I was having 2 kids. I'm like, I don't see this being compatible with what I want. And if I'm honest with myself, I had always sort of thought about it and what's holding me back. And I had to really sit with myself. It took me 2 years to start my own business. I took 2 more jobs even after that epiphany in the hospital. So I'd like to be honest with people that even with that clarity, like I was really clear, I still was kind of scared and not certain of like, what does it look like? What does this company do? I knew what I didn't want to do, but like, what do I want to do? And that was not clear. And so I think we have to really clarify. I feel very strongly about this, that when we have something we want, we have to clarify it, but then we also have to make the desire outweigh the fear. Like I had to say, I really, really want to have control of my career. I want to have control of my hours and I want to be able to pick my kids up from school sometimes. And that started to get so strong and it started to outweigh the fear. And then I could start doing the other things that come after that.
Yes.
But it was an evolution for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's people think that you just make that switch all of a sudden. And I think, particularly for women and moms, these are big decisions, right? When you're financial wealth, everything, and then the health of your family, yeah, they're big decisions. And that inflection point is the start. And then for you, being able to really just know, wow, the opportunity to create, and I feel the same way. Like there's a lot of hard parts about owning your own business and doing it, but the pros and being able to own your schedule, especially as a mom, is so much greater. So that's really cool. I love hearing these journeys because I want people to know that you can do too.
Yeah.
There's always another road. You don't have to hate your job, or even if you love your job and you still have that little feeling inside, the tickle in the tummy, it's
Or maybe,
possible.
which maybe is just is indigestion.
It could be,
Could be.
but it might not be.
Might not be. It might not be the chili. I don't know.
So Kim, what I love about what you're doing now. So talk about what your company does now. Is there such a great continuity in terms of your personal brand into taking your background and now really being able to help individuals and build their personal brand through video and content? So talk about what you do now and what's your sort of approach in building that thought leadership?
So one of the things I think is important, what we touched upon just now, was the idea of if you're hiding from the camera, you're hiding from clients. I really realized that I was not out there. People didn't know who Kim Rittberg was, first of all, and they certainly weren't seeking her out because I had come from a corporate background. I had a resume. So you have to be showing up on camera. So for me, once I started showing up on camera and then I launched my podcast, which I'm honest about, it took me 1 year to launch my own podcast because, we have all those voices in our head.
Oh,
But I really started showing up on camera and launched my podcast. Obviously, in terms of messaging and content, like that's my jam. I'm an award-winning marketer. So creating the content was second nature to me, but struggling with that. Who am I? Does anyone want to hear from me? Are people going to judge me? Like I felt that just like everyone else feels that, just like my clients feel that. Like going through my head is, am I going to be judged? Am I going to look silly? Who cares what I have to say? And I think that we don't give enough power to that because that is what a lot of people hear. And so many of my clients we work on messaging, we work on branding, but we also work on, you should show up. It's important for your business, but also you're interesting, you're
yeah.
smart, you're an expert. And I think that we do believe that we're good at what we do, but somehow making the leap to making that public, there seems to be a block. And I think that it's just really important to acknowledge that even someone like me, like I have a really good resume. I'm not going to pretend I don't. I have a really good resume. I worked super hard for like almost 2 decades in media. But even me, I had all of these blockages. I had been media trained. I media train people. Why would I be afraid to show up on camera? Why would I be afraid to launch a podcast? We all have those voices. And so I think it's important to understand, it's normal. It's normal to feel like you're going to be judged, even if you're not being judged. It's normal to have that tension within, but then you have to say, this is a business goal. And I am an expert. I should be showing up. People hire me. They know that I'm an expert. So I think it's important to just like start from that point of view. And so once I started showing up on camera, everything changed. Literally everything.
Mm.
I started showing up on camera consistently on social media. I launched my podcast and everything cracked open. I mean, I grew my group coaching business. I grew my one-on-one client business. I started getting paid speaking gigs across the country. I got featured in the press, Fast Company, Business Insider, News Nation, Daily News. I mean, literally all these things happened. And it was a very strategic process that I had, but it's breaking through, getting that confidence, and then working on the clarity of messaging, the consistency of posting. All of those things came after. But I have such an amazing business now that I never could have had before. And I feel so lucky. Like I'm teaching business owners how to make money with their iPhone. Like for me, I feel like it's such an honor because it's really fun for me. I feel it's very empowering for me to get to empower them. And on top of that, I get the freedom that I want to have with my family. So I feel it's a win-win, and breaking through those things and then taking the investment in myself to actually put myself out there more, invest money, invest time in creating the content and building my brand. Now that's what I help people do now. So I work with coaches, founders, real estate agents, really anyone who they are a part of their brand,
Yeah.
helping them clarify their message, helping them be confident on camera, and then actually saying, what's our strategy? What are we going to put out there? Because it's not about a podcast. It's not about a video. It's who are you? How do we make people love you and then die to work with you?
Yeah. Ooh, so good. So the imposter syndrome is so real. And so much of what you just talked about is how do we get past that? Now, once you've gotten past that and you're like, okay, shit, I'm gonna start putting myself on video. What are some of the strategies that you tell and how you work with people on actually getting their face out there?
Sure. So I have a whole like patch framework. Actually, I have a free download which people can connect with me and I can send it to them. I have a whole patch framework about how you actually get prepared for on camera. And the imposter syndrome breakdown, that's actually a part of it.
Yeah.
So I have this patch system. So P is preparation. The very first step is you have to prepare first your mind that you should be on camera, and
Mhm.
then your actual preparation. Like you need to prepare
Yeah.
and you need to actually practice. It's like a muscle in the gym. It's like you're not going to get strong if you don't go to the gym. You can read all the books you want. It's a muscle. And so your voice is a muscle. Your face is a muscle. Your body is a muscle. So if you're really trying to show up more on camera, you have to start doing it. And then the next letter is A for authenticity. I know it's like such a buzzword, but I cannot tell you that really showing up as yourself is it's like it's not just about being yourself, but it's about bringing what is uniquely you. And, once you start to crack that open, for example, I had a podcast where I really felt like the first, 5 podcasts I did, 8 podcasts I did, I was helpful. I taught, whatever. I was good. I didn't, but it took a little while to crack into really showing up as Kim Rittberg, not as like person X who teaches video, but
Yeah.
like really Kim Rittberg,
Yeah.
because you can hire all of us have people who do the same thing we do.
Yeah.
Like it's competitive in every field, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And so people are hiring you for you. And so
Yes.
whether you're funny or serious or kind or wise, but like that has to show up every single time.
Yes.
And so some of that work that I do with my clients really gets to that. It's not just I am a this, I am a coach, I am a founder, I help you get work life balance. It's more than that. It's like what is unique to you that they can't get elsewhere. And then when people film, the T for patch, PAT, is turn off distractions. This sounds very silly, but like we live in such a world of like buzz, dings. You ever try to have a meeting with that? Like it's impossible to focus.
Totally.
Same thing with the video. You have to be like really, really checked in.
Yeah.
And then C, confidence. We talked about this earlier, but you have to really believe what you're saying. If you don't believe what you're saying, it's very hard to make other people believe what
Yeah.
you're saying. It's just, I'd like to say some people are like, oh, should you fake it till you make it? Well, ideally you're not faking it and you really are confident, but yes, fake it till you make it until you get confident. I also like to say, read your own resume.
Mhm.
So sometimes we just forget. Like it's easy for us to be like, I'm getting psyched out about speaking in front of this crowd. I'm getting psyched out about filming this video. But like, look at your own accomplishments. You deserve this. Like you really deserve to be here. Because if you really didn't feel like you deserve to be here, it wouldn't be a conversation.
Right.
You wouldn't be in that space. Um, And then the last thing is harness your energy. So understanding where you are on the energy spectrum is really important. So for me, I'm a New Yorker. I'm a fast talking New Yorker. I'm high energy. I like to chat. I gotta slow it down. I gotta come back a little bit. And other people, maybe they're a little quieter, maybe a lower energy, they have to raise it up. So it's being aware of if you need to be more presentational or less presentational. And like that's something that I work with people to figure out how do we actually like show up and make people love us.
Yeah.
That's like really a big part of the on camera work that I do with people. And whether or not I work with people for media training, just on camera work, or it's really it's infused into all the work I do. Because if you come to me and we're creating a video strategy together, you have to really be great in that, not great, be great in that mental state of I deserve this. And then we work on preparing a lot to be comfortable on camera. And then we really get into the really fun strategy process of it. What are we making? I have scripts that I give people downloads, all the tools and stuff about how to actually make that video. That's a part of it as well.
Ooh, so good. Patch.
Patch.
So much.
Patch.
Yeah, I mean, I totally resonates with me. I have the same beliefs, and I think the authenticity and the harnessing your energy is a really interesting one. Not just on video, right? And also in any sort of communication,
Totally.
the graphics you put out there, the copy that you use, to me, that's more like brand voice, right?
Yeah.
What is the voice? What are your do's and don'ts?
Sure.
Are you authoritative? Are you direct? Are you conversational? Are you inspirational?
Yeah.
All those pieces that are so intricate, Kim, that it does take an expert to really pull that out of you, because most people aren't really paying attention to it.
And I agree with you, especially about that aspect is like, I love short form video. It's what I'm an expert in. But the truth is, some of these things are very nuanced. And it just seems like we'll just show up and smile. Well, if it was that easy, people wouldn't have all these hangups about it. So like
Right.
I actually hate when someone's like, just show up and be yourself. Don't be yourself. Don't show up and be yourself. Like it actually takes work and practice to show up as you on camera. Like when that red light comes on, we're like, a little bit of you shifts. And so being aware of that, I think just even that awareness of like, not who I am as a person, but who am I when the light comes on, understanding that and then working with it. And then like, then you can step into the strategy part of like, what do we make? How do we make it? How do we get it out there? Like, and then there's that.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. So then when you're making, what's like where do you love to produce videos? Like, what's your kind of take right now? Because I get so bothered. I have to be honest. Obviously, I love LinkedIn and for multiple reasons, but of course I'm still posting on Instagram, but it drives me bonkers because everything has to be a reel. And I'm sorry. Okay. So Kim, teach me, tell me about like actual execution here. What are you loving? What are you hating?
Oh my gosh. I have personal things I love and hate. But I think every single person has like the block. Like some people hate TikTok, some people hate LinkedIn. I like wherever your clients are is where I like. That's how I think. I'm like people like, should I be on TikTok? I'm like, are your clients on TikTok? Should I be on LinkedIn? Do you get business from LinkedIn? Like it's just I really think of it as a strategy. It's like I like making content. I think it's fun, but I say don't waste your time anywhere that you're not going to get business.
Yeah.
Time is finite, move on. Like, so I think, I personally like, I do LinkedIn and Instagram.
Yeah.
Both of those are fruitful for me. I double down on them. I try to, think of new ways. Sometimes I ebb and flow with how much time I can give, but
Yeah.
LinkedIn, I have a huge corporate network from my years in media, and I would be remiss to leave that out. I work with a lot of coaches and founders and speakers and authors. They're all on LinkedIn. And then Instagram, I have a lot of business coming from there as well. I'm a mom. I run a business. I have a podcast about people who run their own businesses, and a lot of them are female, not all, but that's really fruitful for me in terms of getting the word out. So I think it's more be strategic. Time flies. So just be strategic about where you want to be, but also like don't be somewhere that you hate. I think when people are like, it's such a chore, we'll work together and make it less of a chore. Because actually, I love this example. Actually, one of my clients recently, she is an educational consultant, super smart. And she's worked with me several times in different coaching capacities. And I'm coaching her to do thought leadership through content. And we had all of these ideas and we're making them. And she's like, I haven't been able to find the time to make these videos." I said, "Let's be real. Is it about finding the time?" And she's like, I did go to yoga twice this week. You're right." And we really got into it. And it wasn't about finding the time. It was that we weren't working within her love language of content. And actually, she loves her newsletter the most. I was like, "Great. Let's start with the newsletter and then let's turn that into other content." And so I think the strategy of like be where you love, be where your clients are, start from there. If someone's gonna force you to be on Instagram every day and you hate it, you're not gonna keep that up. It's not gonna be good for your business. So I
Yep.
think it's a part of it is like anything that's successful for you in your business has to be a habit that you can keep up with. And so it's more about where do you enjoy being and where do you get business from?
Yeah. Yeah. I literally couldn't have said it better. And I mean, I talk a lot about the knowing your audience, which is what you're saying, Kim, with your example, on LinkedIn. I know that that they're coaches and founders and they're on LinkedIn. And so I talk to them, and that's, on Instagram able to do that. It's like being able to really understand who is your audience, which
Yeah.
actually so many people don't actually know the real answer to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They think they know, but they're going after the wrong people. And then where are they? Because arguably your audience is on most likely TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. They're probably all over since these platforms have billions of people on them.
Right.
Where are they active? And to your point of where do I energetically feel
Yes.
aligned? That is so huge.
Yeah.
That's going to keep you excited about it.
Exactly, exactly. Because it's like someone can tell you to do something,
Yeah.
but if you're not bought into it, you're not gonna do it consistently, and
Yeah.
so then you're not really gonna gain the fruits of that labor.
Totally. Totally. Okay. Whew, this is so good. So I'm curious because I have this question. I know that means that other people have it. When you talk about getting more speaking opportunities
Yeah,
through putting your video and through your content out there, how are you specifically able to do that? Maybe it's not just a speaking opportunity, it's
yeah,
something else.
sure. So, I have a system that I use. It's like a very targeted system. I call it thought leadership through content, and it's like 9 different stages. So, where we start at the very beginning is the messaging,
Yeah.
and that messaging is gonna tie through everything you're doing. And then we're going to like laser focus how to use that content. So I'm going to give you an example of like how this work in practice. So it goes from messaging to strategy to content creation, and then sort of having those tentacles reach out into all of the places that you want to be. So for some people that's speaking engagements, for other people that's clients, for other people that's press, or all three. It could be any.
Right.
So I'm going to give you an example. So one of my clients, Marissa, she's awesome. She does work in the work-life balance coaching space. She has a lot of experience in employee engagement, and all of that. She's fantastic. So one of the things we focused on was really clarifying her messaging and her authentic self. Like we talked about, authenticity is like bringing her authentic self. She went on a podcast appearance, and I think of content as content. It could be a podcast appearance, it could be a video, it could be a blog post, really anything that
Yeah.
you're really putting forward content. It's not like just a sales tool. It's not just an ad. So she shows up on this podcast. We had really worked on the messaging and clarifying the message, and she got a Fortune 500 speaking gig, one client, and 2 podcast appearances. And like that's working. Like that's where you see it working. And I think it's a mix of those things. It's not a mix, sorry, it's a process.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
getting the messaging really clearly, putting
Yes.
that in the content, and then having a really consistent strategy of where you're putting that, how you're engaging, how you're getting to engage with it. And then targeting, because some people
Yeah.
are looking for press, some people are looking for speaking gigs, some people are looking straight up for clients. They don't even care about
Yeah.
podcasts or features. So I think it's also being really, really keen on what you're looking for with the content and being really, really targeted, because it can happen. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, whether you want to be featured in trade associations or whether you're just looking for clients, it still works. I just think like when people think, oh, I'm going to make a video, I'm like, don't just make a video. Don't just make a video. It has to really be a part of a larger plan, or you're just kind of going to waste your time and your money without having like a really concrete plan of where you want to go with it. And then I can help you make the content that gets you there.
Yeah. So you're not, this isn't like, hey, come hear me speak. Right. So much of what you talked about is the placement, right? How
Yeah.
can you strategically get your message in front of the right audience, back to that audience piece.
Yeah.
And yeah, podcast is a great opportunity. It was a great place, but Marissa obviously was on the right podcast
Yeah.
where that message was going to resonate and get in front of, potential clients. So
And I also, it's interesting because I think that there's also like where you're putting your content out there and where you want to be can also serve different purposes. So some podcasts or collaborations that you might want to do, like some can serve for credibility builders, some can serve for client growth. I think it's just important to not everything serves the same purpose. Like when I was in my 20s, I had a jewelry business. So this is like not my first time as being a small business owner, but I had a jewelry business on the weekends working in media because I am total underachiever. Anyway, in all the free time.
yeah,
But my jewelry was featured in Women's Wear Daily, which is basically the Bible of like fashion for
yeah,
insiders. I think I sold one necklace, but what it did was it cracked open all of these stores to talk to me because my jewelry was quality and credible and I had that stamp of approval. And
yeah,
so I think it's also important, like anytime you're doing something, it's okay to say this is for that, this is for that, it serves that purpose and they're not going to serve all the purposes at the same time.
of course, of course. Yeah. Ooh, that's a good example too. Yeah. Ooh, this has been really good, Kim. So then we talked about so many things, so much good alignment. If you had one good takeaway, so you had lots of good takeaways today. But Kim, for people that are trying to build their voice and just one good takeaway, if they walk away today, what would it be?
This is fantastic. Well, I'm going to do a 1 and a 1A.
Okay.
Okay, number one, video and content converts to cash. Video can change your business like that.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing it, you should do it. You should call me and we'll discuss. It really does for my clients and for me incredible things that until you're in it, you just don't realize it can completely unlock so much of your business. So number one, video and content converts to cash. So you have to go on video. The other thing is really being clear. And this is something I actually love doing because people are like, oh, you're a video person. I'm like, no. It's all about messaging and clarity. Before you make content, you really have to sit down and understand who you are. So I actually love the messaging and branding steps before we make videos with my clients. I actually think they're really fun because I get to know the person. All this stuff comes out that you wouldn't necessarily know. But having a clear message and really being you, unapologetically, amazingly, authentically you everywhere. Every video, every newsletter piece, every blog piece, every speaking engagement, that is where you will then shine. You'll get more speaking engagements, you will get clients. Like I think I mentioned before that I was on a podcast. I was on a podcast and I made, what is it? I'm terrible with numbers, 5 digits, whatever, tens of thousands of dollars in client work from one video interview with someone. It was a podcast appearance that was done in a video interview because I brought my personality in addition to my teaching. And it was the merging of that, really understanding clearly who you are, what is your message, who do you help, what is your brand? And that's how you then bring people in because they really understand what you stand for and how you can help them. And so I think that once you're really clear on your message, you're really clear on who you are at all times and how you help people, everything else can fall into place after that.
Oh, it's so true. So good. It was a long takeaway, but the primary takeaway is there.
What? Okay, my first takeaway.
Cash.
See, I'm. Hold on. I was not practicing what I preach about clarity. First, video and content convert to cash.
Got it. That was the takeaway, and then I got it.
And then I did want to just remind people, it's really, really important to do the messaging and really understanding who you are before you get on camera. Otherwise, you end up being like a robot who just spouts Google.
1,000 bajillion. I mean, huge. And actually, most people don't do that, which is why they're not seeing any results. So,
especially in the age of like Google and ChatGPT, you have to be you.
Yeah. Ooh, so good. Well, Thank you so much, Kim. This has been such a fun interview. I learned a lot. Y'all watch her videos, follow her, connect with Kim. Thanks so much for hanging out with me again this month and another wonderful guest. I will see you back next First Friday and hope you have a great month, y'all. See you soon.